Hi. You almost caught me taking a deep breath because today's topic is certainly not something I planned in life to do sitting in front of a camera on this vlog. But okay, so it's true. I am 23 years sober today, August 11th. 2017, my mom's birthday. And in fact, it was a Coors Light beer at the East Point Inn in East Rockaway, Long Island, New York, that I had my last beer at my mom's birthday celebration. And the East Point Inn isn't there anymore, but it was a fancy little place in our neighborhood. I think it was the only fancy place in our neighborhood at that time. And hi, one viewer. This is a good one. I'm glad you tuned in. So I decided to, talk about this today because, first of all, I'm extremely proud, okay? But it's extremely personal, and it's not something I even ever talk about with people that don't know me a very long time. So why am I talking about it today? Well, I think what has led me to this place today is really the event that we're doing at DuPont Registry coming up on August 24th. And I drove to Grace Point Wellness in Tampa Bay and was, just completely blown away by all of the resources that they had for people in recovery and homeless people and mental health issues and right. And as I turned down the block to go to Grace Point, I remembered that I spoke there like 13 years ago when I moved here from New York. And I remember thinking of there were a lot of like misplaced people there, people that were new, like just coming out of being homeless, and maybe they still were. I don't really know, but I remember it being a very tough crowd. A tough crowd, meaning like it was very relatable, but they were in a very, very like serious situation being there, and it was so overwhelming to have. It was like deja vu, really was. And then I ended up having this great conversation with the executive director, and I broke my anonymity. And I told him because there was no way I could live this transparent, authentic lifestyle if I don't have the courage to say the things that I believe in my core got me to where I am today. So, yeah. Okay. Let's talk about 23 years of sobriety. So I was 21 years old when I got sober. Yes, I turned legal and I decided I didn't really just decide by myself, but it was a good day to pick mom's birthday. And I remember when I decided that it was going to be my last drink, I told my mom, and we just talked about this at lunch, and pretty funny and ironic that my parents forgot today was my anniversary. It's my mom's birthday, so we always make it about mom's birthday. But, it's 23 years later. It's like, it's a big deal, but it's not a big deal. It's my life now. And all this hesitance and even hesitance to do this today. That's why I said I was going to do it I think I said it Monday when I vlogged. And then I mentioned it a few times for myself. Really. So I would just do it. Because if I say I'm going to do something, a 9.9 out of 10 times I do it. So here we are. And then I didn't want to think about it too much because I want it to be real. And, when I have the great blessing and opportunity to speak in front of people that are in recovery or whatever it is, if I speak at a rehab, and I've spoken at jails, I've spoken a lot of places about my story, it really resonates with young people, obviously. And today there are way more young people coming in to the program that I belong to, Alcoholics Anonymous, because, there's just, I don't know. I read something today, a friend of mine sent to me that said like the amount of people dying from pain prescriptions, painkillers, pain meds is just, it's off the charts, you know? So now they're going to put like restrictions on how, finally, they're going to put some restrictions on prescribed medication, painkillers. And there's going to be some new regulations. So anyway, I digress about that. But I thought it was important because really my whole motto is if I can help one person, that then I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But, you know, 80, how many is this? 86 vlogs later, the reason that I am who I am today in life and I am who I am today in business is because of the adversity that I've overcome in my personal life. So there's a reason why I work as hard as I do. There's a reason why I'm as passionate as I am. There's a reason why I'm always talking about how grateful I am and how riding my bike is such a great, simple pleasure. Because really, you know, before I was 21, I was in 2 rehabs, a halfway house, a sobering up station, an inpatient, what do they call it? They called it like a sobering up station. It was the psych ward, basically. And I remember my parents coming to visit me there, and that was the most traumatic part of all of it. I just wanted them to think I was okay, but I was like a mess. Like, oh my God, how did I end up here? And then I still kept using and drinking, and I was such a lost soul from the age of, I would say 17 to 21. Now, I started drinking when I was 14, but it was innocent. And 14, my goodness, like Cooper is 13. I cannot even imagine that. And I grew up in like a Mayberry type of home. It wasn't like I have, you know, my parents, I was just with them at lunch. We went to Ocean Prime. It was wonderful. And 2 brothers and, you know, just this normal kind of beautiful life with a lot of love around me. And both my parents don't abuse alcohol, never have, but we certainly have it in our genes, right? It's a great, has nothing to do with being Irish or Catholic. I love to hear people say, well, I'm Irish Catholic. Well, it doesn't matter. It's like, I was the lucky one in the family. So, and truly, you know what? I was the lucky one. It's funny that today when I think about everything that went on in my life up until getting sober, my first 5 years of being sober, I was still very sick in my mind. And it wasn't until I did the work, right? I did the work. Like there was no shortcuts to success, and there's no shortcuts to happiness. There's a lot of work that goes into getting there. And it's very personal to me. So I want to make sure that I say, my one viewer, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you're enjoying this, or, you know, whatever you're feeling watching this. Maybe you're feeling nothing, but it's not something I share about, not because I don't have any embarrassment surrounded by it. It's probably one of the proudest achievements of my life. What it is the, you know, when I hear people that come out on TV or read it in the news that they're sober, or that they're in AA and they're like just a few years, and then they go back and then they relapse, and then people say stupid things like, you know, the program doesn't work. And it's never that. It's always the person. And when the person is ready is when it will work, you know, and then they have to do a lot of work to get where they are today. So I feel like I'm feeling exactly like what I thought I would. Just, how do you even say this? Like, well, and why am I even saying this? I'm definitely saying it because I feel I'm being led to talk about it. I think that every even client that's in my life today, well, a few of them I've told them about me, because you get to know people and why don't you drink, you know, and I bring it up. Or if somebody says, you know, how come you're so, I've had people ask me, you know, how are you so grounded and spiritual and all of that? And if somebody asks me the question, I tell them the truth. I don't know how to lie. So believe me, I did back in the day. You know what I mean? When I was using, but I certainly am not good at that today. And yeah, so I just thought it's important that if I'm going to talk about, you got to be real and authentic. Well, this is the real authentic me, but I'm very protective about AA. I still go. I was there last night and Tuesday night. I still sponsor a young lady who is a joy in my life and a blessing. We both celebrate this month our recovery, and we work together. And I pass on this message of hope and this message of, I really do. I think at the end of the day, somebody said yesterday in the meeting, this wonderful young girl, she said, do the promises ever come true? And there's all these promises about knowing a new happiness and a new freedom. And I certainly know that new happiness and new freedom. I just never thought that it would happen. I never thought that I would feel happy again when I was in my early 20s. I never thought I would be successful. I never thought I would get a job. I never thought I would have a car. I never thought any of these things would happen because I had this history of screwing up. And then when the alcohol and the drugs were taken away, I just had me, and the support then of this wonderful fellowship that I have treasured for 23 years now. And the first time I tried was 18, so 18, 19, and finally 21, when it was my decision, when I was ready, not everybody else, because I had been, family intervention and mandated and all of that good stuff. So I guess I'm glad my one viewer is still hanging in there. So thank you. I know today that my gratitude and my joy, and the reason why I help other people is, look at me all teary-eyed, is because so many people help me. Like, I could never, ever repay back the people in my life that helped me. And especially imagine like my parents. Oh, it's the ugly cry coming. Mom and dad, like, they saved my life, and that's why, like, they are the most important thing to me. And I believe that when you have overcome adversity, whatever that might be, and you keep on going, and you keep on believing, and you keep on praying, and you keep on, asking for help, that it comes. And that's what happened to me. So there's so much around what I'm telling you right now. It's not fear. I had somebody ask me, a good friend of mine who might watch this, maybe I'll tell her to. She's like, aren't you afraid that your clients or doctors that you work with or find out won't want to work with you? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not in the least bit afraid, because if that's how they feel, I don't want to work with them. And that is my truth. I really only want to be around good people and people that have empathy and sympathy for people who have been through anything, even if that isn't as extreme as, getting sober and not having a drop of anything in my body for 23 years. I think I should celebrate tonight. I'm kidding. But really, like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. So those tears that I showed you are tears of joy and gratitude. And I don't take any of this for granted. I have been blessed beyond my wildest dreams. I called my one of my very best friends here in Florida, Scott, this morning. And I haven't talked to him in months, but that's how our relationship is. He's very busy in his business. And I said, I went and I sat at the spot that I used to sit in when I moved here by myself 13 years ago. And I moved here alone, right? And people are like, how did you do that? Why would you do that? But I'm telling you, if I can get sober at 21 years old and live through what I lived through before I got sober, I just feel like I can do anything. I'm just not afraid. Like, I'm literally not afraid of many things. I'm afraid of free fall drops, roller coasters like that. Sometimes I get afraid when I'm riding my bike that I'm going to hit a pebble and I'm going to flip over. But I don't have real fears. I don't have a fear of making a fool of myself. Obviously, I've seen that a few times, including a few minutes ago when I was crying. But it's because of what I've been through in my life. So that story of what I've been through in my life is kind of unbelievable. Some highlights, just so you know that it wasn't just like I drank a little bit. You know, I'm also going to give you this G-rated version because I don't know. Like Cooper doesn't even know, and my mother-in-law doesn't know. And there's a lot of people in my life that don't know this about my life. So why would I be doing this, right? Well, I really believe that I've been having this conversation so much with people that if they have any type of platform, which this is my own platform, and if I can do something to help somebody else, that's what I'm born to do. I'm just very protective of this, you know, this program that saved my life and the stigma behind it. And the stigma behind mental health issues. And, you know, I was suicidal in my first year of recovery when I was 21. And, you know, God, my mom and dad used to tell me to, you know, open the blinds in my room. And they didn't know the depths of it. You know, they didn't know how bad it really was. Because I'm not going to talk, I'm going to say me, not we're. When you're in that type of pain, me don't want to cause pain to other people, you know? And that was the journey for me. I didn't want to hurt my family any more than I had already hurt them. So, you know, it's been 23 years and it's a miracle and the program is a miracle and I don't take it for granted. I'm very, very grateful. And that's why I try to be patient. And that's why I want to help others. And that's why sometimes it's very sensitive to me to see people take so much for granted because I almost wish adversity on everybody. I really do. Like live through some serious stuff, like a few rehabs, a halfway house, blacking out, moving to Michigan. Live through some of that. And then we can talk about adversity. So it's definitely the reason that I don't have a very high tolerance for complaining and all that petty stuff. Like we have one life, it's a gift. And I hope that you use this gift for good. So thanks for hanging in there with me, one viewer. I wonder what you thought. This was a very difficult thing to do. And, only because I feel so protective about everybody else that has struggled the way I have in life and getting sober at 21, being young and imagine being my age. All I used to think about was how I wasn't going to be able to have a drink at my wedding. And then at my wedding, it's a good story. At my wedding, my husband's friend yelled out, Sharon, oh, just have a drink tonight. Just one night, one drink, it's not going to kill you. And my father shot him the look of death. Like, no, she cannot drink, okay? You do not want that to happen. My wedding wouldn't have been as awesome as it was for me and my husband and Cooper and my family. It wasn't awesome for everybody. Not everybody is happy when I make decisions to do things that make me happy. But that is all of everything that happens to me, every decision that I make is because of who this person is in front of you today. Episode 86. Okay? Everything. Literally. How I act in business, how I always tell the truth, how I'm a truth slayer. It's all because if I did not have honest people around me, like Cynthia, my rock for 20 plus years now, when I want to hear the truth, that's who I call. Because she's not going to try to sugarcoat it and make it sound good. She's just like, no, you're full of crap. So I'm going to wrap up. Happy birthday, Mom. I don't know that you'll ever watch this. It was so funny when I had to cheers myself at Ocean Prime this afternoon and say happy anniversary to me on my mom's birthday. You'd think that they could remember. And I'm teasing. Of course, I don't care, mom and dad, if you're watching this. Like, really. No guilt. We're Irish. We don't need to have any more guilt. All right, I'm going to go pick up Cooper now. And that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed a really, really big piece of my heart today. And I hope it is just used for good in this world. And I hope if there ever is an opportunity for you to extend a hand to help somebody else, that is what you will choose to do. So with that, ciao. Enjoy your weekend.